Here is this 52-inch Hampton Bay St. Clair ceiling fan. I picked this up recently from the Habitats for the low price of $5, which is pretty nice. I was told by my friend who volunteers there that they had a overstock of ceiling fans in the back, and they did not have enough time to test them, but they didn't want to throw anything in the garbage, so they just put everything out. So I got this, a few other fans. I was going to show some Harbor Breeze breezeways I got from there, but somehow they were missing the brackets. Maybe I misplaced them or something, but I also can't seem to find a bracket for mine as of right now, so I won't be showing those until a bit later. But I'll show this. This one was real nasty. This was covered in smoker's tar. Maybe it was kitchen tar. I don't know. It was very sticky and greasy. And it had a really weird smell to it. So I took the globes, I ran them through the dishwashing machine. I wiped everything down with awesome spray. And this thing looks real nice. There's a few things I might have to address. I might go through with on the motor housing and switch cup with some glass cleaner because it is kind of smudged. I'm not sure if you can see it now, but maybe you'll see it in other parts of the video. But besides that, the fan looks really nice. It's in really good condition. It is also missing the little trim piece that goes around the bottom of the canopy, which is mildly annoying. I thought I had a black one from my classic style, but I don't know where I put that, so it's just going to be bare for the video. I don't know how long this is going to stay up. I really like this fan. I want to find a place for it where I can enjoy it a bit more often, but can't think of anywhere right now. So, put it up on a display. We're going to test it, I guess. So, we'll fire it up on low speed and downdraft. This was pretty much back from when Hampton Bay was at their prime, the 90s and 2000s, all the way up to about 2010 or so. Hampton Bay was probably the best of the store names. Menards turn of the century was always kind of garbage. Harbor Breeze had some good products, but I didn't really like the Harbor Breeze stuff until around the mid-thousands. Hampton Bay had good stuff all the way back into the 90s. They used Shell Manufacturing Company as one of their OEMs, as well as Aircool and King of Fans. This one, I was thinking this would have been a Aircool made product, but it doesn't seem like the Aircool product. This thing seems to be a bit of a different quality, and it doesn't have the remnants of the Aircool Hampton Bay fans, because all of those, they had the little notches in the blades that slot into the motor housing. These blades don't have that, which is very strange. This might be an older model or something. I couldn't find a date on here too, which is interesting. Polished brass, it looks very nice on this. It almost looks like a gold. I would say this is a very pretty fan. This is one of the nicer ones Hampton Bay has made. And out of these fern leaf copies, these are one of my favorites. I would take a Harbor Breeze New Orleans over one of these. It's kind of sad because my New Orleans, it's not in good condition. It's yellowed and very rough. It's covered with scratches. This one's a bit rough. I thought this one was going to be very bad, but once I put it up and I'm looking at it, it's not really showing its age. I'm not sure if this is with how I have it mounted or an issue with the mounting bracket or down rod that I'm using with this. The down rod on this came off of a Hampton Bay Jericho 4, I believe. I'm not too sure. But some glass housing thing. But it looks good. It just kind of, it's like crooked. If you were here IRL, you would see what I mean. It puts off a good breeze. Low speed, it moves a bit. Medium moves a bit better. This was most likely made during capacitor plague, so it might not be at its full speed. The one that the Jordan Yu has shown in his living room, he seems to speak highly of it. And then here's high. This has a bit of a motor hum to it, but I didn't bother putting the little isolators between the blades in the motor since I wasn't going to keep this up for too long. It has a bit of a wobble, but I don't feel like going through and balancing it, and the blades look out of clock, so actually it kind of does now that I'm looking at it in the reflection. I can see a little bit, but that might also just be because of the wobble. This thing really throws off a good amount of air. It's not a multi-function like it, it's just a standard. I have these True Test traffic signal bulbs in here. I think they are 60 something, 26 watt, I think. 69 watt. We'll go with the spin down. The only reason I normally use LEDs or I normally use LEDs or compacted fluorescent lights, but I'm using incandescents because it's very cold out. I think it's going to get down to a low of 34 degrees Fahrenheit tonight. I think as of right now it's already around 48 or so. So if it's getting that cold, I want a bit of heat in here if I'm going to be out here working. So that's why I've used incandescent bulbs. Every little bit of heat helps. I had some other higher wattage ones, but the light kit had a sticker on it that claimed 100 watt capacity. I don't have any like 85 watts or anything. I thought I had some or 75 watts. I couldn't find any of those that matched anyway. I only had like one random one. I wanted all of them to match. I really like the look of these bulbs too. If I were to install this fan somewhere, I'd probably put these bulbs in it. I'd be tempted to put this up inside in my dining room where the Casablanca is, but the issue is I don't want to put the Casa up there because this thing, this thing is nice, but it's not nearly as powerful. I like the Casablanca because it's powerful. I like to have airflow in there because sometimes, even like in the dead coldness of winter, I'll come in with my coat and stuff. It's just soaking wet, and I lay them over the backs of the chairs. I crank the fan up to high speed, and it dries everything out. The bearings on this are quite good. Now, there might be a bit of unintentional bias. That tube that you see behind it, which I don't even know if it will show up on the camera, which it doesn't. There was a tube behind it above the television for which goes up to the attic to the heat pump, and it might be blowing, but it's blowing against the blade current, so if it were to have an effect, it would probably spin the other way. And for a heck of it, I'll do reverse and high speed just to see if it wobbles less. The detail on this is really nice too. I think the detail looks a bit better than the New Orleans. I recently got another Fernleaf copy made by Quorum, so I'm most likely going to be showing that soon. That one is more of a copy of a Casablanca Victorian. There's a lot of things on that that are very similar. And I wouldn't be surprised if that and this fan share the same OEM. I don't know what OEM Quorum uses for their fans. Yeah, this thing has really good bearings. It's dead silent. There's no bearing noise whatsoever. It runs very smooth. This was probably the best fan out of all the ones I got that day. Here's high speed. I really want to find a place to hang this. I'd put this up in my bedroom possibly, but I already like the fan I have in there, and with how big this light kit is and how thick the motor is, it's going to hang down a good bit. I'm feeling air from over here, away from where the camera is. This thing really, it wobbles less in reverse, so that's good. So I was wondering, that's all I was really wondering with that. We'll do a reverse while running, because people hate that. See how quick it is. You can really hear the motor kind of spin down and revert the other way. Yeah, that was nice and quick. This thing got plenty of power to it. It's not like a traditional home store fan. And I feel in recent times, Hampton Bay has started to get a bit more attention from the community. For a while, people were really really talking trash on these. And maybe it was because they were unbiased in comparing them to like a Casablanca or an Emerson or a Fasco, or some sort of other flywheel driven fan that's obviously gonna outperform a fan with a spinner motor. So that might have something to do with the reason that these are getting a lot of hate. But now a lot of the younger collectors are joining the community, collectors that are 10 to 20 years old, and they grew up around these. These were common around them, so they saw these all throughout the 2000s and the 2010s, and they really have a soft spot for these, and I'm one of them. I never saw St. Clair until I got this one, but I saw a YouTube video as a kid, and I thought this thing looked really cool. This was the first Victorian copy I ever seen. I didn't know what the Emerson Fernleaf was when I discovered this, but I knew what a Casablanca Victorian was because everyone had one because they're like overrated or something. I really feel these Hampton Bay fans, they deserve a bit more attention, so that's something. They had a lot of good models. This is one of them. Cameron 2 was really good. The Quick Connect was really good. The Huntington 1 and 2 were good. Huntington 3, I'm not too much a fan of the performance, but the Jordan U speaks highly of them. I think that's the only person I've heard that actually said something good about the Huntington 3. I don't think I've ever actually experienced one that worked properly. All of them were sacrificial to the capacitor plague. But they had a whole bunch of good stuff in the 2000s, mostly made by Aircool and King of Fans. I'm going to guess that this one was most likely made by King of Fans because Shell Manufacturing, they stopped making fans for Hampton Bay when they went out of business. So thank you very much for watching, and keep the breeze. Sorry for the blabbering at the end of the video. I just had a lot to say about this fan and didn't realize saying about it until a bit later. But hope to get some more of these early 2000s Hampton Bay fans. I might be getting one of the models that I mentioned earlier from another collector in a trade. So thank you very much for watching, and keep the breeze.